All right, so why does BMO.PR.E, that if there's a redemption on this, they're only ever going to pay you $25, is currently going for what, $25.93? With BMO.PR.E, it's an interesting example because it recently actually reset back in November. So when it reset, it's a 5-year rate reset preferred Canadian preferred share. So when it reset on November, I believe it was November 28th, that means that you're locking in whatever interest rate you're going to be getting for this for the next 5 years. So right now it's paying 42 cents, 42.6 cents. Bring over the calculator, 42.6 cents times 4, because 4 payments per year, it's paid every quarter. You get $1.70 and 0.04 or whatever on per year for this preferred share, and this will pay this out for 5 years. That means you're going to get $8.52 over the next 5 years, roughly. There's already been a payment from this. There's already been a payment on this new scheme, so not quite, minus 42.6 cents off of this. But it's actually a twofold reason. Well, another one is the fact that bank stocks, it really ramped up here because bank stocks were getting bought out a lot. Bank preferred shares were getting redeemed a lot at this time. So there was a high expectation that would get redeemed, but this particular one didn't. So it ended up locking in a really, really attractive interest rate for the next 5 years on this. So anyone that buys this knows that for the next 5 years, assuming no problems with Bank of Montreal, which is the biggest, or if not one of the top 10 companies in all of Canada, doesn't go under or doesn't start paying their interest rate on their main stock, that you're going to be getting payments for the next 5 years on this. So that's why this one is even trading above that, because they know, everyone who trades this knows it's not going to be redeemed next year, because the last chance for redemption was back in November here. So for the next 5 years, I can guarantee you that whenever this gets bought or redeemed, it's going to get redeemed for $25. There's no way you're ever going to get paid more by BMO for this than $25. But that doesn't mean for the next 5 years this is going to have some interesting trading and some interesting opportunities. You can see it going all the way to the point of it was almost $27. That's $3 above what it's even technically worth in this market. But again, you're just looking at it for its interest rate, what it's going to be paying over the next 5 years, and the fact that it's a bank stock and a lot of these are getting repurchased. So there's a really high likelihood that this will get repurchased. So you'll get your $8.52 or a little bit around that over the next 5 years per share that you hold. That's another way to look at these as well. When they're trading above the $25 redemption price, how long does this actually, how much time, if you sell this preferred share right now, does this buy you? It's going to be different with all stocks. I'll show you another one that's slated for redemption here, which is NAPRW. So this one was, you can see when it was announced, it was trading up because the general preferred shares market for Canadian preferred shares was trending up, with the expected long-term interest rates to be heading down, the 5-year rates. It was trading at 24.14 here, and then it got announced for redemption on Thursday the 19th of December. Traded above its range here only for a brief period of time until its last dividend payment was paid out. Then traded slightly below. This is because there's a premium. If you want your cash right now, that's worth whatever premium, $24.90 for some people. And then eventually knowing that if you hold it, it will close that gap and will be redeemed, and you'll get your full $25 back for this from National Bank of Canada. That's why it's so important to be paying attention to what's happening in sectors. If you start seeing a lot of redemptions in a specific sector, say banking or renewables, then you will often see a lot of the general price of those prefers get pushed up if people think that there's a likelihood that this industry, there's a trend going on where where these companies are actually redeeming these preferred shares. They'll redeem them now because, again, it's most likely because it's a very higher interest rate they're going to pay. Like if we go back to BMO.P.R.E, it's paying out an interest rate of 6.57% right now at the current price of $25.93. So even though it's trading above its par value of 25, it's still paying out a really attractive interest rate for, well, a bank stock, one of the biggest companies in Canada. But no matter what, you actually have to be mindful of the fact that eventually this will probably trend to par. And on a side note, if you're new to preferred shares, par value doesn't always mean $25. For example, this FFNPRA, its par value is actually $10, which, crazy enough, it's trading at 11, which is an absolutely massive premium for this one. But again, there's always some opportunity in these preferred shares, regardless of if they are trading at, below, or around their par value. The most important thing is you have to know what the sector is doing, what its actual par value is, like whether it's 25, 22, 10. These Canadian preferred shares are really different how they're released. It's a very odd instrument and really not traded enough by retail traders, and it's just kind of ignored, which is a good thing. Like if you're trading in a market with a lot of HFT action or just an overcrowded market, it's harder to find little inconsistencies. One that I noticed recently is BK. So this is the bank. I don't know. So BK is an interesting one. It was going down when interest rates were expected to be going up, and there was a lot of confusion before. But more recently, this is right with Canadian-U.S. trade war, the potential trade war. It dropped down to 932 and recovered within literally minutes. Now, you're not going to see a move like this very often, if ever, on an overly traded market. With these preferred shares, there's serious opportunity for people who are willing to dive deeper into them. If you want to find out any more, go look in the description below and I'll see if I'll pin a comment.